everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Zara and today I'm going to be doing a very quick review of The Winter of Our Discontent by John Steinbeck. I love John Steinbeck's writing. I've talked about him on my channel many times. East of Eden is one of my favourite books of all time, probably my second or my third favourite book of all time. I really liked Grapes of Wrath and I also really enjoyed The Winter of Our Discontent. Was it as standout compared to some of the other books that I read? No. Was it still exceptionally good? Yes. So let's jump in. What did I like about it? I just love John Steinbeck's prose. It is just stunning. It really suits the type of plot and characters that he has in his world. It feels very raw. It feels very intimate. I feel like these books are almost like a friend telling you a story about somebody that he knew in a past life. And that just makes it feel much more grounded in reality. And it feels like it could be happening to anybody that you might know. And I love that about his books. They just feel very personal and they're just about humans being humans. And who wouldn't love that? Like, genuinely, who wouldn't love that? The next thing that I love are his characters. I think his character work is just phenomenal. I don't think there is anybody who writes about the human struggle better than John Steinbeck. And if you disagree with me, please recommend me that author down below, because he really understands humanity and the psychology behind the decisions that we make, and it just makes his books again feel very grounded and personal, because again you can feel like it would be happening to maybe even yourself, never mind just people that you know. That is the number one thing I love about his books, is just how raw and unfiltered they are, and how they talk about the extremes of human experience, not just the highs but also the extreme lows that we all have, or we at least know someone who's experienced. And it's that kind of contrast between that desire and quest to do more. And it's the fact that he captures, you know, the kind of highs of life, but couples them with those extreme lows, that makes it very dramatic at the same time. Even though it feels grounded, it does feel like you're watching something sometimes on a movie screen. When I talk about him, I almost talk about him in contradictions. I almost talk about him paradoxically, because he's able to achieve two things that negate each other at the same time. And I don't know anybody else who's able to achieve that. Like, it is truly exceptional. The third thing I loved about this book is the thematic work. This book, as along with many of other Steinbeck's books, is about kind of capitalism, the dangers of capitalism, what happens when we get obsessed with chasing money, chasing a certain level of prestige and comfort, and the downsides of that. And I think, again, I don't want to give any spoilers, but he captures that somewhat innate need to always want to have more in such a simple yet effective manner. Because even though the story is told very simply, every chapter or every couple of chapters there's a gut punch. There's a realization that you as the reader have, that the characters haven't had. And it's very odd to be almost looking in to these characters and seeing the way that they operate, whilst knowing that what they're doing is not necessarily going to end in the most positive way. I think that's another very effective storytelling method, that even though it feels intimate, it does almost feel like there is a gap between you and the characters. And so you're able to look at the situation a little bit more objectively than, say, the characters in that moment. I think that is wonderful. Now, why didn't I give this a full 5 stars? I think the main thing for me was that there were bits in the middle of the book that kind of dragged a little bit, and I just don't think they needed to be there. I think Steinbeck could have written this as a novella. He writes a lot of novellas that are like 50 pages, 100 pages, 120 pages, and they're like really small books. And I think this could have been very effective like that. I feel like there was a part in the middle that just didn't need to be there. Like, the middle chunk of the book didn't really need to be there. I think we could have taken it out or focused it a little bit more, and the story would have been as effective in getting across the thematic work that he was trying to get across. I have to say, Steinbeck is not an author that wastes words, and while I think it did drag, I don't think it was necessarily to the detriment of the story. It's just that I think it could have been a tighter story, and I think that just would have improved my overall experience. Like I said, it wasn't like the worst thing in the world, but I think with a bit of tightening it could have taken it to the next level. The other thing as well is there were a few characters in this book that I think could have been fleshed out a little bit more, and I just think that we could have explored some of the thematic work. And this is what I mean, like I think this book was kind of almost like a full-length novel, but also kind of like a novella, because it's only like 200 pages long, so it's not that long. But I feel like he could have either made it like another epic like East of Eden and really kind of given us multi-POVs following different characters, or he should have just focused on the one character and the one family and just made it a lot shorter. So I think the balance there was a little bit off for me personally, but again, I think that was just very much me. But overall, I gave this book 4 stars, and I would definitely recommend it. I would not recommend it as the first Steinbeck that you read. I think the first Steinbeck that everybody should read is East of Eden, because it is truly a masterpiece. I loved a lot of the thematic work in this one. I thought the characters were pretty interesting, but because they felt relatively surface level compared to some of his other character work, I didn't feel as strong of an attachment to them as I did with the characters in East of Eden or Grapes of Wrath. If you've read this book, let me know down in the comments below. I don't know tons of people who have read this book, so I'm very curious to hear what you think if you have. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to let me know, and I'll see you down in the comments. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay safe, take care, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.